Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, you know there's just 331 days until Christmas 2022. We've got a good a week of Star Wars news this week, and Meg will be joining us in just a second. A couple of notes off the top is we're working on updating the channel. I've got a competition out there for a new logo, some graphics, and I've already got at least one new intro song from Darth Elvis, and we may be able to get something else lined up as well. So working on getting all the graphics updated, the intro updated, and the logo updated. We're working on all of that for you all very soon. So look for that coming soon, and it's exciting to see you all here. And so without further ado, let's bring in the person you're all here for. All right, you're here to see Meg. Let's be honest. All right. Good morning. Or afternoon.
Hello, Santa. Good afternoon. Good evening, even.
Yes, good evening.
over here.
That's right. It's the weekend has started. Right.
It has.
I've got my energy drink in my MEG-a mug today. I had to do that just for you. I know you're feeling better. That's good.
Yeah, definitely on the mend. COVID sucks.
Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does. So this is a great week for Star Wars content, huh?
It's been better than others. I wouldn't go too far with it, but it's been decent.
Better than others. Well, yes, it's good. Right, Ronnie. Who's the Santa guy? I only came here for Meg. I know Ronnie's joking, but we appreciate it. And Mike Porter. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yes, it's 5 o'clock where Meg is. Yeah. So.
Yeah, 5 p.m.
5 p.m. So let's. We've got our predictions for week 6 to talk about, and I've taken a peek. I saw that you put your predictions in. I've peeked. And you're a bold one. Let's say that.
I don't remember what I put, but that sounds about right.
So this last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, everybody's been talking about it all week. It's been since it came out, right? Everybody's talking about Bryce Dallas Howard and how excited they are about this last episode. Mm-hmm. Knowing also, you gave it a 10 out of 10 as a Mandalorian episode, right? Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, it was a great episode of The Mandalorian.
It absolutely was.
As much for a Book of Boba Fett episode. And I kind of feel sorry for Tamar Morrison because everyone's all excited about this episode and he wasn't even in it. And it's meant to be his big return to Star Wars. Right.
And I think it's got about a minute of Book of Boba Fett content right at the end.
Yes, with Fennec.
maybe 2 or 3 minutes of Boba Fett footage total with Fennec and recruiting him. But the other 50 minutes is all Mandalorian.
Which I think is fine because I think maybe they had like a 6-episode arc for the Book of Boba Fett, and the 7th they just kind of threw in there as a tease for the Mandalorian season 3. So I'm definitely not like giving up on the show just yet. I think they definitely have time to wrap things up with 2 episodes to go, but they can't waste any more time.
Yeah, and X-Wing, Bryce and John took me straight back to 9 years old at the end. And by the way, X-Wing did a fantastic little video where he lined up the Phantom Menace and this episode of the Book of Boba Fett on Tatooine, and put them like back to back. It is a fantastic video. It's about 8 or 9 minutes long, X-Wing, I think, but that's worth checking out on his channel. It's very good. And Brian with the beard, my brother from another mother, right? Same spelling. Also Brian with a Y and with a beard. It says, are people actually mad about not having Boba in it? Like, who cares? I don't know anybody who's mad.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's mad about it. Just kind of like a point of statement, just like, okay, but this is the Book of Boba Fett. I'd much rather they were like, this is a little sneak peek for the Mandalorian.
A green bear. This is hilarious. There's a way you could take this. There's another way you could take this. You could be Australian, or it might be something else. But he likes your hat.
Australian. It's meant to be Marshall Meg of Mospelgo.
He likes your hat. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. So I've got just a speculation question for you. There's been some debate about the Darksaber and who might end up wielding it, and Din or Boba or perhaps Sabine or none of the above. And the reclamation or the restoration or something to that effect of Mandalore and the Mandalorian people, bringing them, uniting them. We clearly see a divide here, right? With your friend, the armorer, she's got very different ideas about who's Mandalorian and who's not than perhaps Bo-Katan or Sabine may have. What do you think the future of the Darksaber in Mandalore might be?
I honestly am in two minds about it, because on the one hand, I think they are going to, have season 3 be Din rising to the occasion, going to those living waters on Mandalore that are supposedly destroyed. And, we can talk all day about the theme of water in Boba and Mando's scenario being like a rebirth.
Yeah.
So I think maybe Din will be the rightful ruler of Mandalore if he steps up to the occasion. I've seen some speculation that maybe Luke Skywalker will train him in how to using a Darksaber properly. But on the other hand, considering, the armorer brings up Sabine Wren, handing Bo-Katan the Darksaber in Heroes of Mandalore and Rebels, but she doesn't name drop her. But I think that was a hint. In the Ahsoka series, obviously, we know Sabine Wren is going to be back. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out, because at the moment, I think it's going to be either Mando, Grogu, or Sabine who wield the Darksaber. I'm leaning towards Din at the moment. And as you know, I've said in the past, I think that is who is going to be the rightful ruler by the end of the show.
I've come onto your bandwagon. I've not been there until this episode. Like I thought, no, Din Djarin's not going to be the ruler of Mandalore. He has no interest in that kind of nonsense. But after seeing this episode, I can see a path. Right? I don't think he's on board. Like, that's not his quest to become the ruler. But I think he could become the ruler, like the reluctant ruler, the people's ruler, bringing these houses together, bringing the Mandalorian people together. I can see it. And I thought that it was interesting that the title of this episode was called The Mandalorian. Not Din Djarin or Mando, right? Like The Mandalorian, which...
Return of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, Return of the Mandalorian, Return of the King, Return of the Mandalorian. I think very well it fits. So I'm like, okay, I see where Meg is. I'm with you. You have some excitement going on outside your...
Yeah, I live in a place that's quite near the hospital, so oftentimes you hear ambulances all day and night.
Oh boy, that's no good. That's no good. Hey, Kendall, celebrating his membership here with the chat. Oh, I've not been keeping up with the chat. It's been moving, and I've been talking to you. Dominic misbehaving. Let's see. Get caught up. Mark, Din, annoyed that we've not seen Boba, doing that. Boba did give the Niktos a proper. The slang there, Mark, I absolutely love it. I'm not reading it, word for word, because I'm not gonna fall for the trap. It's a trap. I'm not gonna fall for it. But a really good point. I think people are a little concerned that they've not seen Boba step up. But I've seen another rumor, or a speculation, I should say. Speculation is the right term. That it will actually be Boba Fett who ends up with the Darksaber. Boba Fett, who rules the Mandalore, brings the Mandalorian people together, and that perhaps Mandalore will be reestablished on Tatooine.
It's a long shot, but definitely possible. I think people's concern is very valid when it comes to Boba Fett, and I think ultimately it's due to the fact that they honestly had no clue what to do with his character. And what's really surprising to me is, after having seen The Mandalorian Chapter 14, where Robert Rodriguez did such an incredible job on Tython, with Boba taking out those stormtroopers.
Right.
And we've just had none of that from his episodes. I mean, everyone, I think, agrees in this fandom that Steph Green and Bryce Dallas Howard directed the best episodes.
Yeah.
And, the others by Robert Rodriguez just didn't hit the mark. And of course, what's his name? Kevin Tancherone did a better job. So I kind of feel like they just didn't know, maybe Jon Favreau just didn't know how to write this story properly. I honestly don't know what happened, but I was very optimistic near the start of the show, but now I'm thinking, like, how do they wrap this up in 2 episodes? There are so many loose ends they didn't connect with the flashbacks to Camino and Geonosis. Like, was that just showing us Boba's past for fan service? Like, where is the poetry? Where do they justify that? Which I thought was going to be in a Jango Fett flashback or maybe even Mace Windu. I'm not too sure what to think of this series, but I'm sure within the next 2 weeks I'll have a better assessment.
I'm sure you will, but considering there's 2 episodes left. And I'm with you. I think we know Rodriguez knows the character. We got that episode of Boba in Mando season 2. People are really coming down hard on Rodriguez on the story for the season. But I think you really put it well saying that Favreau's credited with writing this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I don't want to put too much blame, if that's what you're looking for. I don't want to put blame on Rodriguez. The story's not completely told yet. And we've got a couple more episodes to go to see where they're taking this. Where are we going? Where is the payoff? Those flashback scenes. To me, I'm really, really starting to think that Boba's going to bring water back to Tatooine, the oceans back to Tatooine in some way. I don't know, but
I don't see why, if they do that, they think we care so much about Tatooine. Like, there's nothing there for Boba Fett other than his Tusken, adoption, basically, after the Sarlacc. But is that so significant for his story? I'm not sure it is. Like, it's almost like they're throwing away everything of Boba Fett from the Clone Wars and in the Imperial era and in the Empire Strikes Back. It's like they've taken all of that Boba and just thrown it out. Like, well, here's a new character, which I was kind of fine with, but they've not done anything with that. He just comes across as a pseudo Boba. And I think Tamar Morrison probably feels the same way.
And what did Luke Skywalker have to say about Tatooine?
Oh, yeah. It's the furthest planet from Hope or something like that.
Right. A lot of people seem to think that Luke's going to come back to Tatooine because he loves it so much. It's his home. It's the place he thinks of fondly in his dreams and in his memories.
Even in the novelization of The Last Jedi, he misses his friends, but he doesn't like Tatooine in the slightest.
Yeah. His opinion about Tatooine's like Anakin's in sand. I just don't like it.
Nikki is right. Everyone should hit like on this video.
Thank you so much, Nikki. And I want to go to this question about Din going to the ship that he can live on, right? A Razor Crest. And we see he was looking for another Razor Crest model. He likes the ship. He's comfortable with steering it. He's comfortable with living in it. But he goes to the Naboo N1 starfighter. I don't think that he is going to stay on that starfighter very long.
I agree with you.
It may be a few episodes, but it really boils down to which fork in the road he takes. If he decides to embrace ruling Mandalore and bringing the Mandalorians together, then he may not need a bounty hunting ship, not a vessel that has a weapons locker and a carbonite freezing chamber and all of that. He may not need that, and he may go to more of a Mandalorian. Let's just say there's a certain type of ship that's closely associated with Mandalorians. You might see him in something like that. There's a lot of other options if he doesn't go back bounty hunting. So if he decides to forego that and go back to bounty hunting, go his own way, then yeah, he could go back to a Razor Crest. But at this point, I'm not so sure. I think maybe he won't need one.
I honestly don't know. I don't know which direction they're going to go with this. It's a weird choice because the Razor Crest was his home as well as his vehicle. So I'm not sure if that's just going to be temporary to bridge The Mandalorian with the Book of Boba Fett, and then maybe he'll get something bigger and better in season 3. But
Yeah.
I can't really see him sticking with the N1 for an entire season.
No.
And if he gets Grogu back, is he going to pop him in the astromech?
Well, that's happening.
Port?
I mean, that scene is happening, right? I mean, that was set up specifically to put Grogu back there with his hands in the air like he just don't care. Like, that's going to happen. You can see it. You can absolutely see it. If it doesn't happen, it would be sad. It would be... Jeremy with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Astromech Jeremy. Loving parallels between Boba and Din. Remember, Boba's the one with the Mythosaur on his armor. That's true. And they did bring up the Mythosaur.
They did.
I don't think that your friend Emily would care for Boba's view of Mandalores either. And I say, for those who don't know, Meg knows Emily Swallow. You've talked to her. You've interviewed her. And she plays the armor. So anyway, I was making that connection. If you guys didn't, I'll connect the dots for you.
Yes. I think the interesting thing with the Mythosaur is I think it was Jeremy in the Discord server who said that he thinks we will see one. I agree with him. There was that concept art for season 1 in the Mudhorn episode. And I definitely think we'll see a Mythosaur again, because even though the armor says they exist only in legends, there is, the tale of Mandalore the First and the Tong species, the original Mandalorian species on Mandalore, who drove the Mythosaur to extinction. But who's to say that won't change in canon and we'll see one? I'd love to see one. I also hope Boba rides his Rancor in this season, speaking of beasts.
I think we're going to see Boba ride Rancor for sure. And I hope that we do see a Mythosaur. And I'm of two minds on this as well. I think it's very possible we might just get a Mythosaur skeleton as a bit of an archway into the mines of living water. Where that's
I'm fine with that.
Or we might actually get a real one. But I tend to think it might be an entryway or a portal into a cave, like that kind of thing. I could see that happening.
Have we considered the fact that the armor might be full of shit?
Right.
Just like in so many ways, everything she says, I kind of feel like is twisted with her narrative and her view of Mandalore.
Yeah. You think she has a little bit of beef with Bo-Katan, maybe? Just possible.
Just a little bit. Just painted for the entire destruction of their planets.
And her people. There
was a bit of truth to that, but no, she clearly does not like her. And what's interesting is Din didn't bring up the fact that he's met her. Or
right.
that
Wait a second.
They've had these interactions.
Right. I've run with her. She's not that bad. No.
What's funny is I never liked Bo-Katan in Rebels or the Clone Wars, but for some reason when Katie Sackhoff became her, physically in live action in The Mandalorian season 2, that kind of changed my perception. I'm not the biggest fan of Bo, but I prefer her in The Mandalorian. They've kind of given her that edge, you kind of feel like they're going to kill her off eventually. And I still think she might die in season 3.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Well,
I kind of see a battle with her and the armorer.
Well, I've been working this out as well. Why does Din care what the armorer thinks? Right? There's only 2 of them or 3 of that faith, if you want to put it that way. Because I think, let's just address the elephant in the room. There are a lot of parallels to Christianity. The living water that you need baptized in, as a apostate, right? Those are all terms in Christianity that has a lot to do with rebirth, as you mentioned before. Why does he care about that brand of faith now that he's met Bo-Katan? Definitely knows. Yeah, go ahead.
He was a foundling. He was, as Tiffany says in the chat, he was indoctrinated in that cult. To him, listening to the words of the armorer and others who he may see as respectable figures within the tribe, to him, that is word. You talk about religion. there are bad figures, like you do get corrupt priests and bishop figures and all of that within. This is no offense to any sort of religious belief. It's just the fact that you
Right.
do get figures who do take things more orthodox or twist
Yeah.
things in certain ways. And I think that's perhaps what the armorer is. And I think the brilliant part of chapter 5 writing wise was they've given us a reason to question the armorer in a way we haven't had in season 1 when she last appeared, because she was kind of seen as like this majestic senior figure, who
Yeah.
has all these wise words. But now we're like, oh, is there more to her than she lets on?
Right. Right. Well, I like the parallels they're drawing between those who are like really dogmatic, like the armorer, and what they've been doing with, say, Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, challenging the Jedi Order as well, right? Like and go back to Dooku, and I know you and I've been talking about doing a little content around Dooku, and
Yes.
as I prepare myself for that and get excited about it. Dooku also challenged the dogma of the Jedi Order, and we see a lot of that going on, right? So they tend to set up these figures to kind of represent the extremes, and perhaps that's what is happening here with the armor as well. She's in a bit of an extreme group. My friend Lunga is in the chat. Rodriguez is the showrunner. Yes, I know he is. And Randy 818, I just follow that up with Lunga's post that the show wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. Now, there is I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. But I will say that there's a rumor, and Josh Lucas with the Den of Nerds, he is on this thought pattern of the drama between Pedro Pascal and yada yada. I could
Grace
care
Randolph
less.
stuff.
Yes, yes. He simps for Grace a lot, but in that case, I we like to give him a hard time about it. We used to call him Grosh, like Grace and Josh, as a matchup, Grosh. But he is saying, hey, Grace may not have been completely wrong, and this book of Boba Fett was to teach Pedro a lesson that, hey, we don't need you, buddy. But I don't.
I think that's absolute rubbish.
I
Because
agree with you.
we know there was a Boba Fett movie planned all the way back in 2017. I think it was Jason of Making Star Wars who spoke about this recently. That there's all this information about the original director who eventually stepped down or something like that. They've
Yeah.
always had this kind of 6-act plan for a Boba Fett movie, or 7-act
Yes.
plan. It's not as if, this was to teach Pedro a lesson, or it was never meant to happen. They always wanted to do something with Boba Fett. And also, Bob Chapek spoke about how he wanted to do something with Han Solo, which eventually became Solo: A Star Wars Story. So
Yeah.
to say that this was just, some silly drama within Lucasfilm is not true, and provably not true.
I agree with you. I agree 100%. I love to pick on Josh every time I can. And when I was one of his nerd vengers and was regularly interacting with him, I used to haze him quite a bit. It was fun, and this was another one I would definitely haze him on, because he said that we were going to see Ezra and Sabine in season 2 of The Mandalorian, and all season I kept trolling him. Like, hey, I love that episode, especially the part where Ezra came in, and of course, that was. I
To
just
be
like.
fair, I was on the Ezra bandwagon for a while. I thought there's a good chance. I think
know.
with time, the whole Mando verse, as it unfolds, we will get all of these characters who logically fit in. And I'll tell you what, it's a great time to be a Star Wars Rebels fan.
Isn't it? Oh my goodness.
The Ahsoka series, with them doing stuff with Thrawn, with Ezra and Sabine going to live action, and then we heard that Vanessa Marshall is doing some test screenings, possibly as Hera Syndulla.
Yeah.
It's a great.
It's amazing time. And it's why, if you haven't watched Rebels, shame on you. you should go watch it. Like, make it a priority. You know, what are you doing this weekend? There's a huge snowstorm coming up the east coast of the U.S. And if you haven't watched Rebels, it's snowing outside anyway. Just stay in and watch Rebels. Well, you know, binge the whole series. You should do it. This bit.
Agree.
This bit here about Rodriguez preaching the all killer, no filler. I think he overhyped it, and I'm worried that they're doing that with the Kenobi trailer, overhyping it. And I'm like, okay, tamp down expectations a little bit, because that could get you in trouble.
In a sense, I think it's fine to have a little bit of expectation for Kenobi. I would say, of all the series, I think it's fine to be really hyped for Kenobi. Maybe temper expectations for Ahsoka and other things, but for Kenobi, I think we can afford to be excited. I really hope they don't let us down. I know Deborah Chow's an incredible showrunner when it comes to the way she's directed episodes of The Mandalorian. I'm sure she did a great job with Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's just some of the other writers on the show I'm a bit worried about, but
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
always give it a chance.
you raise a really good point, and look, a lot of love for Bryce Dallas Howard this week, and she deserves
Absolutely.
every bit of it, right? Like,
For a trilogy.
you give her a movie, give her a trilogy. If you get tattoos and tattoos are your things, go ahead and get a BDH tattoo. You should. I don't know, but I'm not a tattoo guy. I don't have any. No, don't plan to have any. But you know, Bryce Dallas Howard deserves all the love. Absolutely all the love. And this episode proves it. She's absolutely brilliant. But Deborah Chow, don't sleep on her.
Yeah, do not sleep on her. I think we're going to be saying similar praises. I mean, she's got all 6 episodes, so right from the start, you know that she's got. And Ewan McGregor has a lot of creative input, as Seth points out, but also the fact that it's going to be consistent. We're not going to have a fragmented series.
Right.
You know, she's got all 6 episodes, so her vision, whichever direction, at least is going to have a consistent arc. And we know that she's talented based on The Mandalorian. And recently, Ming-Na Wen was saying how proud she is of Deborah Chow and giving her praise for the work she's going to do. And I think we're going to see that really with the Kenobi series. And if Ewan McGregor approves, then obviously, I think
It's
as
all
fans,
good.
we can be excited for it. But Bryce
Is-
Dallas Howard did an incredible job with Chapter 5, and it's doubly special for me because I'm a huge Jurassic World fan, Jurassic Park and also Jurassic World, and she's back as Claire in the upcoming Jurassic World Dominion.
That's
So I'm
fantastic.
excited for that. And Colin Trevorrow has that film.
It's the year of Bryce Dallas Howard. I
really
love
is.
her. I really do. And Felicity, one of good friends of mine, Lavis Blackman and Al from they were executives with the Den of Nerds for a long time. They've split off into their own channel now, the Main Gang. Felicity is a major supporter of the Main Gang, and happy to have you here, Felicity. Thank you so much. She gives a $5 super chat and says, we learned more about Den in this episode than she has with Boba in 4. And I think there's some fairness in that. Maybe it's a little overblown statement, but at the same time, it was so good, and I think people are so much more excited. And you just said this earlier. People are so excited to see Din. They're excited to see his story continue on. We're excited to see him meet back up with Grogu, much more than fans have been over this Book of Boba Fett's episodes so far, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's fair from that perspective. And I'm going to have to go. I'm over 100 comments behind. I'm just going to have to hit on the super chats to get caught up. So if you made, I have to go here. Our friend Jason Ward is in the chat. Good to see you, Jason. Astromech Jeremy, another $5 super chat. $1 million question. What do we want to see of Boba? That is $1 million question. What do you want to see in Boba?
I don't have a list, and this goes back to a conversation we were having the other day. Like, I don't think fans go in with this checklist when we're critical of certain things. We just want some consistency, and it goes back to this whole thing of, like, how do you plan a season? Well, you need to have an arc, you know, and you have to have payoffs, and you have to have things that connect. That's always been the heart of Star Wars. And this series feels so disjointed because I'm a very positive person when it comes to the show. I've enjoyed episode by episode, but I'm looking back thinking, well, with 2 episodes to go, they've not established anything with the Pikes, you know, with the if there is even anyone behind them. I think it's Kira and Crimson Dawn, but they haven't given us any of that. They haven't shown us what Boba is up against, who is on that side. And I feel like they've wasted a bit too much time with the flashbacks looking back, which I did enjoy. But now in retrospect, I'm like, well, what was the point of that? Was that all just character developments that doesn't actually have a payoff? And people say, well, then there's going to be a second season. It's like, but we can't keep going show by show being like, well, they'll explain it in season 2. They'll explain it in season 2. I don't like that method of doing things. You have to make everything worthwhile if you want to keep viewership. But what do I know?
Well, you are the best, Meg, and so I think a lot of people put a lot of weight in what you say because you have such a great view on Star Wars. You've got a great passion and love for Star Wars, a great positive energy, and you're well balanced and reasoned, like a good Jedi should be. Even though you've got this Sith tendency, I know you have to fight it. You have to fight it, but
I do.
You're
Santa, I think you're the excellent, balanced one here. I don't think you have a shredded Sith in you.
Well, thank you so much. Astromech Jeremy, another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Jeremy. The N1 might dock to a future Razor Crest, sort of like the Phantom and Ghost situation. I could see Din keeping the N1 as the sports car in the garage, so to speak. Sure. What do you think?
I could definitely see that happening. I like that theory. But we just don't know what's going to happen. It could get destroyed and then he goes to look for a new Razor Crest or something.
Mark Hamilton put that in there. As soon as they put the Mando's N1 Starfighter for pre-sale, Hasbro puts it up for pre-sale and get your deposits, then they'll blow it up. That's
I really hope we get like a Lego set of it or something. I think someone on Twitter did a makeshift version and it looked really cool, so I hope we get that.
That would be great. That would be great. Let's see. There's been a lot more coming in. We've got a lot of super chats. There's Nikki with a $10 super chat. I need to see Grogu and BD.
The
Who's
BD droid.
The BD droid. Absolutely. So Din could take BD with him. That's all I care about. Boba could go live in a nursing home with Pelly for all I care.
Oh, by the way, just a quick note. Do you still think we're going to see Endor, or was Tamara Morrison slipping up when he said that Ewoks were fun to work with? Because I heard Star Wars Theories video this morning, and I don't say this often, but I think he's right about something. I think Luke Skywalker is on Endor.
I think so too. Now, I know Jason Ward is in the chat, and Jason has heard reports of Maz Kanata's castle being seen in some of the sets, which leads you to think Takadana. But could we have Ewoks on Takadana? That would sort of be odd, wouldn't it? So I tend to think, like you do, that we'll see Luke go to Endor. Maybe. Yes. I'm not sure where the Takadana thing fits in, Maz and Maz's castle. So I'm not ruling that out, but I'm sort of like,
could it be a structure that Captain Rex or someone built on Endor? You know that structure. I don't remember what it's called. If you played Battlefront, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, there could be some kind of structure on Endor that resembles Takodana. They're both quite foresty. But I quite liked that theory that Star Wars Theory put out this morning. I was like, actually, that makes so much sense, because maybe Luke built a shrine to his father, Vader, who was in the celebration scene, he was cremated. And, I could definitely see him training Grogu, and who knows? I think that's actually a very sound theory. And that would connect to Tamara Morrison being like, oh, the Ewoks, they were really funny to work with. And
exactly.
There was a picture of an Ewok in front of him, so it's not like he could confuse it. And Ming-Na went agreeing with him. I'd love to see that.
I'm 100% with you, Meg. And in the EU, now Legends, Luke took an old hangar and turned it into a Jedi Academy, didn't he?
He did.
and with that, he brought his students in there and he was teaching. What if they took one of the hangars on Endor, or one of the bases on Endor, and built it up into a bit of an academy or a Jedi temple, something of that nature, and they're on Endor, and that resembled Maz's castle enough to make people confused, right? So
That's what I was thinking. But also, do we know if there are any off-world Ewoks?
we don't. We don't. That's what I'm like. It'd be strange to see an Ewok off-world, but it's
But
possible.
we said that about Jawas until The Mandalorian, didn't we?
Exactly. Here's X-Wing saying, just give me X-Wings. What? Anyway.
Brian with the beard has a point. After Return of the Jedi, weren't Ewoks used around the galaxy as therapy companions? I love that.
You would.
I would love that. I'd love like to be at Mars's castle, and then she's just like, "Oh, and this is my Ewok." Just strokes, Wicket, who's now become like a house pet.
or now we know that Jawas are furry. So
Thanks to Pelimoto dating one.
right. You could get an uncloaked Jawa, there that she's just stroking, combing.
Are we being trolled, or is it actually canon that Ewoks were support? What was the phrasing?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that canon?
I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
I'm not either.
I'm not familiar with that.
BD1 equals Bryce Dallas Howard. I like that. Astromech Jerry.
See, when you said BDH in reference to Bryce Dallas, I thought you meant BD1.
Oh no, BDH Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. Let's see.
It's like people say BK for Black Chrysanthemum, but I've known that as Bo-Katan for years. People are like, I really hope Bosk fights BK. I'm like, why would Bosk attack Bo-Katan? But obviously they mean Chrysanthemum.
Oh, I've got to wait a second. I may have missed. Yeah, Seth. Seth asks, "Wait, is Ming not going to be in Kenobi since she's been praising it?" And I don't think so, but it's a good question.
Very good question.
Matt Risman with a $5 super chat. Maybe Pele is now dating an Ewok. There you go. We know she likes short, furry creatures, so hey.
That is very true. And I'm trying to stay very clean today, so I'm not going to make half the jokes I was thinking of.
I thank you for that. I know a lot of people come to see you turn me red, and I shouldn't have said that. But you're behaving.
You should not have said that. It's like the time when the cat went behind you and I said, "Hey Santa, nice P word."
You're terrible.
I won't repeat it.
You're terrible. Oh my goodness, Meg, you're killing me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that.
Okay, Ronnie said one of the jokes that I was going to say. Short and furry, you might have a chance with Pelly. That's not how I would describe myself. I'm short. So anyway, next Star Wars topic.
Oh dear. Ronnie, you get a point.
Santa, don't highlight Mark's comment.
I won't. I won't. Oh, now that I see it, I definitely won't. Oh my goodness. So let's see. Where were we? At episode 6. Episode 6.
That's the one. That's what we were talking about.
Sure. Let's just make that up. Episode 6. Are we going to see? I think I know your answer, but I just want to bring it up as a topic to discuss a little more. Are we going to see Luke and Grogu on screen, or is that going to happen off screen?
Oh, it'd be very cruel of them to not show that. I think was it Cinelinks who said they've heard Luke and Grogu are in the next episode. Yeah. I think that's a good one. But what I'm a bit confused about is next week is Filoni's episode.
Right.
So do we think he may include Cad Bane? We know he likes to use his episodes to incorporate some Clone Wars or Rebels elements in live action. I would hope he would see maybe who the Pikes have working on their side. But I think Luke is going to show up. pretty convincing. We heard all those leaks back like months ago about Luke and Grogu being on all the crew merch and everything else. So, for sure.
Yeah.
I know I just kind of said two thoughts at the same time there with the Dave Filoni thing, but...
Oh, so Brian with the beard says they talk about therapy Ewoks in Aftermath, Life Debt.
I completely missed that, and I've read that book twice.
I've been through it 3 times, and I missed it. So I'm going to have to go back again. I was paying more attention to Bones, I think, which is a great droid, by the way.
Well, speaking of the Aftermath novels, what's really strange is they've got Danny Trejo as a Rancor Keeper, but isn't Malakili still around? He was in Aftermath. Is it Empire's End or Life's Debt, where him and Cobb Vanth take in that young Hutt, and then the Tuskens fight off the Red Key Raiders.
Oh, yeah. Where is he? Yeah, he moved.
That's all I was thinking about when they got Danny Trejo as the new Rancor Keeper.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and M. Boyle, it says, yeah, he moved to Mos Pelgo, perhaps.
Yeah, and I'm still standing by my word. Chapter 7, you will see Cobb Vanth. The guy who plays the Weequay bartender has been teasing it for months. So...
a Green Bear asked Bones. Bones is a droid in the Aftermath books. He's an old battle droid, just from Phantom Menace, one of your B-1 battle droids. So, but he's been modified quite a bit, and his nickname is.
We spoke about him, didn't we, in my Patreon video on droids.
And Green Bear, I'm only saying the part of your name that's consistent. I'm only saying Green Bear. I'm not saying all the other stuff that you put before or after your name. Not doing that.
Beskar Boner.
Meg. There. Meg did it for you. You're welcome.
I had to address the boner in the room.
Have I seen the Reddit
I didn't want to go too hard on him.
Oh, Meg.
We unraveled. It was going so well.
It really was. Really was. But Green Bear, see what you did. Talented Mr. Griffin, have I seen the theory on the Darksaber being powered by a shard of Beskar instead of Kyber? I have not seen that theory. I did see the theory that it is powered by a crate dragon. What is that? The jewel that you can get out of that pearl, right? I've seen that, but I have not seen that it would be...
Doesn't that contradict Rebels? Don't we know it's a kyber crystal?
I think so.
And what Kanan said to Sabine?
Yeah, I think so. So I don't think Beskar can power anything, right? And
I would assume not.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. So no, I don't put any weight in that. So good question though. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. So I think we will see Luke and Grogu on screen, and I think that we will see Din give Grogu the chainmail. Right? That's what I'm guessing. And so I'm absolutely on point for that happening on screen, not off screen or in Mando season 3. I think
it wouldn't make much sense, would it, if they didn't connect that the next week?
Well, think of how unresolved attention you might have if you saw Din go to meet his little friend, and then we don't see Din come back. We don't see that scene. We don't see Luke and Grogu. We don't see any of that for the rest of the season. In the next 2 episodes, we don't get any payoff. Right?
Oh no. You know what's worse is I can see that happening now that you've said it. It's like when I talked about how the flashbacks to Kamino and Geonosis have had no payoff yet. And then someone mentioned, the lizard that went up Tamora Morrison's nose. And we see that sort of Tree of Life waters thing to remind us of the waters that used to exist on Tatooine. It's like a rebirth. And someone said, well, maybe that was the payoff. And I'm like, that is so Disney that I hate it.
Yeah.
I hope there's more to it than just that, but I can definitely see them not giving us anything else.
That would be disappointing. Gosh, depressing. Oh, I don't want to leave you depressed for the weekend, Meg. We don't want to do that. Another $5 super chat from Astromech Jeremy. Oh my goodness, Jeremy, it's adding up. Oh, it's adding up. Thank you so much for the support. What if Grogu's gift is actually a little necklace with a silver ball from the Razor Crest? Oh,
I'd love that.
That'd be super cute. That'd be super cute. It is small.
My theory is that it's to do with like a lightsaber hilt, because the armor is very inconsistent. Because she's like, oh yeah, it shouldn't be used for weapons. Like, have you seen the Darksaber?
When did she just mentioned it like 3 seconds ago? And oh, we can't use it for a weapon. And never mind the whistling birds. Never mind,
Oh, I forgot about that. The whistling birds. They were great in season 2.
Oh, they're great. Weapons. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness.
Maybe there's a connection to Thrawn there. Maybe she knows about Morgan Elsbeth's Beskar spear.
Well, she wanted to melt that thing, didn't she?
She really did.
Yeah.
It was like the first thing she noticed about Din, because the minute he sat down and relaxed, she's like, oh yeah, you can't have that Beskar spear. It's too intimidating.
I think the strongest argument for it being medieval Beskar chainmail is merch. Can you imagine the Grogu's wearing chainmail that they will sell? Millions.
I hope not.
It's happening.
I'd rather see Grogu wield a lightsaber, but not a yellow one, Santa. I know what you're thinking. I know how much you love your Rey Skywalker.
I do.
But not today, Disney, not today.
Not today. I don't think that it's parts for a lightsaber. Why would the armorer make lightsaber parts? And especially we see little links of chain. A necklace or chain mail would fit.
I mean like unrelated to the chainmail. Like I
see.
hope we see Grogu much with a lightsaber.
X-wing. Not gonna lie, I'd buy it. I'd hate myself for it, but I'd buy it. It's the same for Meg. I think she secretly got the pre-order in for the Rey Skywalker lightsaber with the yellow blade. It's just a secret. No. It's a secret.
No merch is better than Rey merch. I say that, and I own like all of the Rey Funkos, but that's before the films came out.
Oh.
Like I got the Rey Funkos prior to the Rise of Dick Skywalker. That's the one.
Oh my goodness! And I think the armorer's point more with the spear is that it could penetrate Beskar armor. The whistling birds don't, right? So whistling birds aren't a threat to other Mandalorians. Their armor would protect them. The spear, on the other hand, is a little too good. So it had to be taken down. There you go. Meg Disney shill exposed. Oh, I said the word.
Dear.
I said the word. Now I'm going to be demonetized again. Dadgummit.
See, there's a lot of new people here. Do they know that you cried in The Rise of Skywalker and you stood up and applauded when Rey said Rey Skywalker? There's footage in a cinema in Ohio of Santa being the only person in the cinema crying his eyes out, applauding Rey Skywalker while the rest of the cinema left. And I'm the shill? I don't think so. I cried, but that's because it hit me that Disney Star Wars is terrible. I'm joking.
I'm just, well, I can't even pretend to, like, I so bad want to say, well, don't forget about the breakfast you had with Kathleen when you were spying on the meeting she had with Rey, with Daisy Ridley, That
was a very funny news article that came out. It was like Daisy Ridley had brunch with Kathleen Kennedy, and I thought it was like a piss take news outlet, but no, it was like Comic Book reported on it, Screen Rant, and a bunch of others, and it was quite a funny story, because that kind of told us that we would get sequels to the sequels, which made Santa completely rock solid.
Goldie Fawn. By the way, I love that name, Goldie Fawn. I would love for Din to jump through the hoops to become the Mandalorian and create his own new thing with Grogu Mando Jedi Apprentice. Question: do you think that Din is Force sensitive, like a Jedi, like a Force user? He could be trained to be a Force user.
I've thought that ever since they showed us his childhood in that flashback.
Because of the red robes.
Not only that, just I kind of feel like when they show you a kid, if it's Star Wars, it's linked to Force sensitivity. It reminded me of Brumboy. It reminded me of young Annie. I don't know. I just feel like they are going to connect that. And also the connection he has to Grogu, you know, when they meet and he puts his finger out and then Grogu meets it. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's Force sensitive. Because even before we saw Grogu use the Force, I think most people were like, this kid is related to Yoda somehow. Let's be real.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think Grogu is related to Yoda.
Well, I don't think that Din is Force sensitive. I think Grogu. I
thought you completely lost it.
No, I think that Grogu most likely is related. Or I'm still of questioning whether the Yoda species reproduce or if they are created by the Wills. I'm having a hard time really deciding. They may be created.
Why would the Wills create them?
As balance to the Force. Like when,
but don't they do that within species rather than creating a species? It could just be that the Yoda species are very, prone to Force sensitivity. I wouldn't say they were created by the Wills. You might be right, though.
We'll see.
It's all just speculation.
It's all speculation. And Jesus, show Santa crying at the theater, please. No, this is Meg trolling me live. It's I love Rey.
Santa told me in confidence. He cried his eyes out. He ran to the nearest, toy store. He was like, wiping his tears, like, give me everything you have of Rey. And then, he went to get a... What food do you like, Santa?
Stop. Just stop.
You got food and then you went home. I know the whole story, guys. There's no fake news here.
No, I do love Rey. I love her story. It is very very special to me. I absolutely love her. And again, for folks who are new, the only truth in that is that I do love Rey, and I have like every Black Series figure, or one of most of the Black Series figures here, as well as a vintage collection figure of Rey. She is my favorite character from the movies, which is a big, bold statement, and I'll stand by it. But anyway, that's for me. That's so. Meg likes it.
Mispronounced Anakin Skywalker. It's understandable. It's a difficult word.
Meg, what am I going to do? Let's see. Let's see what Nikki's talking about. How about that? We need more people liking the stream. That would be awesome. Nikki said, I used to think these writers were smart and not everything had to connect to someone, but it turns out everyone's related and Force sensitive, right? I don't think that Din needs to be Force sensitive, and I just don't buy into it.
He doesn't need to be, but he might be.
I guess he could. He might be. That's true.
There are definitely ways they can make that storyline valid and make sense. There's more. I mean, you know this. I've interviewed Din Djarin's father, Bernard Bullen, on my Patreon, and I spoke to him. He was Din's father wearing the red robes, and I spoke to him if he thinks or knows, if there's going to be more to Din, and he says that there definitely is, and I can absolutely see his past and who his parents were. Not necessarily connecting to Ezra Bridger, but being Force sensitive to some extent. Not not necessarily what Imwe was in Rogue One, but like a similar sort of priest figure to the Force. I don't think they just threw that in for aesthetics.
Well, it's the fun part about speculating, right?
Very fun part.
It really is, and I love that we have so much content to talk about. So week 6 predictions for the Book of Boba Fett. The link is in the chat. I pinned it at the top. It's in the description here, and you see the Wall of Fame scrolling by below, and you'll see Star Wars Meg's name there. She is on the Wall of Fame this week. That means she tied or beat Santa with predictions for,
I tied or beat
week 5.
Santa.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
Not mine. I just had to repeat them for emphasis.
Oh my goodness. And you'll see Bouncin' Birdie. Bouncin' Birdie's 6 years old. Bouncin' Birdie on the Wall of Fame with 15 points. Congratulations. Bouncin' Birdie is a force to be reckoned with. She is fantastic. The daughter of Jumpin' Jamie, who is one of our supporters, so it's great.
We'll watch her career with great interest.
Yes, we shall. We shall. She's great. Let's see.
Santa, I think I'm going to win all of the Andor predictions.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. But I will. I mentioned your predictions for week 6 have already been logged, and I've read them, and they're quite bold. You went bold
said that
with your
twice
predictions.
now. I was like half asleep putting them in, so I wouldn't give them too much weight.
Well, I was wondering because there's one in particular. You're fill in the blank one. And I'm like, wait, what does Meg know that Santa does not? Well, the answer to that is lots of things. But anyway,
they're connecting it, aren't they? They're connecting the shows to the sequels, and I know that's not going to be popular, but just wait until it happens, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of it, but if they can make the sequels better, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it as well. I think I don't know we'll see Ben Solo in this Book of Boba Fett, but there's the rumors. There's lots of rumors that Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Kira, there's lots of rumors of different characters showing up. And if one of those rumors was that the end of Episode 7 was going to include Ben Solo. So I thought it was interesting that you put it on Episode 6 as your fill in the blank.
But look, if we're getting Luke, and if we get Han and Chewie and Leia, which is definitely possible, by the way, we can't just write that off just yet, then they're going to have a 5-year-old Ben with them. He hasn't been corrupted by Snoke yet, or even joined Luke's academy. So when people say, well, Ben's too young, well, yeah, but he's with his parents, and if we see them, then Bob's your uncle.
Oh, there you have it. There you have it. It very well could be the case if they go back to Endor, and that's where they find Luke and Grogu. Yeah, all of that could absolutely play out. I could see it happening. So if you all want to see if you can tie or beat Santa, like Meg does.
Wording needs to be changed.
then you could put your predictions in as well, and we'll review.
If you want to try to tie and beat Santa,
like Meg does.
The way you said it was fine. Like Meg does.
Right. I had to put that in there. I couldn't help it after what you did the last time. I couldn't help it. So the Kenobi trailer. We talked about this briefly earlier. I just wanted to touch base on it. That supposedly it's going to be over the top. It's supposed to be super exciting, and people are starting to get hyped for it. And the reason is we got that little clip from an interview this week where somebody who was in Kenobi as a stormtrooper, right?
Yeah, he's also one of the Tuskens, Rory Ross. He plays a Tusken. And he plays a stormtrooper, which I think he's going to be the stormtrooper that falls into the Sarlacc.
Very nice. And he is saying that they're just trying to make sure that it is absolutely clean. Well, and I'll say that's a good thing, because when we do get a trailer, everybody will be breaking it down frame by frame, right? Looking for the slightest little hint. Because that's
50
fun.
Easter eggs you missed in the Kenobi trailer with arrows pointing everywhere in the fucking thumbnails. I got a bit passionate. I'm sorry.
You did. That's okay. It's as long as you don't say that other word that gets me demonetized. That's the one that gets me
Arrows?
every time. No, no. The Disney shill one that gets all of my, when I say that word, it instantly gets put as demonetized. So I'm like, and then I have to appeal it, and then they're like, oh, they were just joking, having fun, but their algorithms can't really pick that up. And so the algorithms here, they're talking about shills, and they're like, oh, they're being toxic. They're being,
Are you serious? Does it really pick that up?
It's my theory because
Of all the things we've said on stream over the last year, and they pick up on the word shill as unacceptable. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
It's crazy because it's the only thing I can figure out, because we had a stream we did maybe 2 weeks ago or so where no prohibited words were spoken. Meg was under the weather and wasn't her true self, and wasn't wasn't so quick on the jabs, and the only word that I could even start to think of was shill, and it was demonetized. And then I appealed it, and they said, nope, we're leaving it demonetized. I'm like, why? And so ever since, I've been paying attention when that word is said or not said, and if they are demonetized or not. And there's a strong correlation. Let's put it that way. I don't have proof. They don't say you need to quit saying this word, but every time I say it, it gets demonetized. But you guys are tremendous with all the super chats today. It's amazing. We got Trucker Mark USA, $5 from Trucker Mark, saying, ho, 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 Star Wars Santa and Meg, best Star Wars news channel on YouTube. Thank you so much, Trucker Mark. And for those that don't know, I drove a semi-truck over the road. I was a truck driver for a while. And
Santa had a semi for a while, which in the UK means something very different.
Before
Anyway.
Meg tied me up and beat me. That's what they, that's...
Nikki has a point though. If shill was a bad word, you'd see a lot of YouTubers calling that out, kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be. I just don't know why they keep hitting mine that way. But this trailer is supposed to be coming. When do you suppose we'll get it released?
March.
I
think March is the perfect time based on the way that they've been doing it recently. But again, it depends. Is it going to be in May? Is it going to be in early summer? If it is going to be the May 4th release date, which everyone's hoping for, then March is really probably when we'll get it. I just want a teaser. I just want something like 5 seconds, flash Obi-Wan removing his hood, and we hear Vader's, breath, and then it's like Kenobi logo, anything.
So let me get it straight. You want to see Kenobi flashing by removing his hood? Is that what you said? No.
I don't want to see Kenobi pulling down his hood or flashing.
Rearranged your words there.
You did. You did to me what I usually do to you.
I know.
This time Santa was on top. No, that's the wrong wording.
Meg. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So what was I saying? I'm lost. Oh,
Something about
I know. I know.
Kenobi trailer. When do you think we'll get it, Santa?
Look, the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett will be February 9th. We don't know when the next Star Wars thing is happening. So we have between February 9th and sometime when we get another trailer, we get another...
The chat is on fire today.
You started it.
I'm the bad influence.
You are. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I was pure and wholesome before I met Meg. She corrupted me.
It's the job of all the Sith.
It is. Oh, Trucker Mark's driving through Salt Lake City, Utah today.
That's awesome.
just east of Salt Lake City is some of the most beautiful landscape you'll ever see. And there's a national park near Salt Lake that is gorgeous. Some natural formations, stone formations, and things that are amazing. So, Trucker Mark, hope you enjoy the scenery. Hope drive safely and all of that. So, yeah.
I went to Utah in 2009. I visited Zion National Park. It was absolutely gorgeous. But we had a tarantula, massive tarantula, come into our room, and it was hilarious because I'm not arachnophobic. I've owned tarantulas, but my sister, she can't stand spiders, and one of them crawled onto her, and that's when I decided to wake her up. I was a kid, okay. I didn't know about the dangers and all that shit, but.
Hey, Meg somehow drags Santa down to her level, and then she beats me with it. That's what she does. We've established that. Who is in Ogden, Utah? Dale Erdman is in Ogden, just north of Salt Lake City. So there you go, in the same neck of the woods. So we don't know. February 9th is the last known Star Wars content we're getting. We're getting a Kenobi trailer. We're getting Bad Batch Season 2. We're getting Kenobi. We're getting Andor. We're getting Mandalorian Season 3. And perhaps even that Droids bit that Anthony Daniels was doing some mocap for, right? So that's a lot of Star Wars content that's supposedly on the slate for 2022. And yet we don't have a schedule yet. So we just don't really know, right?
It's also confusing, like they've guaranteed, or they've said for sure, forget Mando Season 3, they haven't actually told us that yet. But we've still got the Bad Batch Season 2, that's 16 weeks. We've got 6 weeks of Kenobi, presumably 6 or 12 weeks of Andor, because we heard that rumor that they're splitting Season 1 in 2, so that they can have 2 seasons, because Season 3 goes into production this year, which makes no sense otherwise. Right. So where is that all going to fit unless something releases at the very latest at the start of May?
Right, or are they going to release 4 shows a day? It starts to get confusing because we also have Marvel content releasing on Disney Plus, and if they're staying with this Wednesday night thing, a lot of YouTubers are going to be sleep deprived because you're going to have Marvel stuff, you're going to have Star Wars stuff. Which do you watch first? Do you watch the Star Wars thing first? Of course you do.
This is why I'm called Star Wars Meg and not Marvel Meg.
That's right. But Josh Lucas is going to be in trouble. He's going to be in trouble. But yet a lot of other YouTubers are going to be in trouble. I stick with Star Wars content
myself. They'll probably have to do like 2 videos or 3 videos a day.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But which do they catch first, right? Which do you do the live reaction to at midnight when it releases?
If it's Kenobi, you've got to prioritize Kenobi. It's set to be, according to IGN, the biggest TV show of all time. That's what they're saying, viewership-wise.
Wow. Well, you would think it is going to be huge. And there's also news of that Lord of the Rings series that Amazon is getting ready to drop later this year. But that's a lot. There you go. X-Wing's starting a channel called Marvel Meg now. And then what you have to do is you have to let Meg buy it from you with all her great YouTube money. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Marvel Marshall Meg. That just sounds like marshmallow.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, there's that's a lot of content to come out. And like you said, like if they kind of stick with the releases that they've been doing, like either Marvel or Star Wars on a Wednesday night or a Wednesday morning, wherever it is you are, well then we also have several Marvel series that are lined up with all these Star Wars series lined up, and you're running out of time. And yeah, here's another person that's going to be in trouble. Where did it go? Right here. Our friend Mike Porter. Right? If they show both at the same time, I will die. Mike Porter is, he never sleeps. He's always awake. And he is always reporting on things, sharing our tweets and our Facebook and our YouTube stuff. Mike Porter's absolutely the best, but he catches these shows live as well. So I don't know how you're going to catch both at the same time.
I've never been, big on Marvel. I love Spider-Man. But that's both Marvel and Sony or something like that. I've seen all the Spider-Man films, but I've not been into Loki or Moon Knight or any of these other shows. I just don't know anything about them. I'm just all in on Star Wars, which is
Yeah.
kind of convenient that my channel is Star Wars. But so that doesn't affect me in the slightest. You can watch your Marvel content. I'll cover everything Star Wars.
What a coincidence. I mean, how did that happen? That the thing that you really love happens to be your YouTube channel. Completely accidental.
I think someone like is it Eckhart Ladder who does Halo and Star Wars. I think that's like a good system. If you're doing two things, but one of them isn't as prevalent in terms of content that comes out as often in the year and things like that, and that's a game, isn't it, as well?
It is. And there's Trucker Mark is Moab National Park, East Utah, I-70. That's exactly it, Trucker Mark. When I drove through that, when I was driving a semi-truck, I was astonished. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I've been to the Grand Canyon as well. And the Grand Canyon is absolutely stunning. Have you been to the Grand Canyon by any chance, Meg?
I did. I went over it by helicopter.
What an amazing place.
Gorgeous. North America is the most gorgeous landscape. I think it was George Carlin who said, before commercialism, North America had some of the most beautiful scenery in the world, and it was incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm reading. Sorry, the Grand Canyon is amazing. It is amazing. Well, the first time we went there, it just breathtaking, and this Moab National Park on East I-70. I was just taken back by it. It's absolutely beautiful. Man, I mean, all hail the great and wise Mike Porter. Yes.
Mike Porter is such an awesome guy. I love his... Sometimes I'll just... I have the notifications turned on, and I love just reading through some of his dad jokes and thinking, I think Santa's going to use this one today. And lo and behold, a few hours later, there you are.
There I am. Yes, I'm so appreciative for Mike Porter's dad jokes. So we've got a lot of Star Wars content coming. I don't know how many YouTubers are going to sleep because they try to cover both Star Wars and Marvel, and it's going to be tough. I focus on Star Wars for a reason. You focus on Star Wars for a reason. It's something. Yeah, Mark, this is me too. Grand Canyon is stunning. My eyes didn't believe it was real. And you're standing right there. Unbelievable. Yeah. What? Oh, Jedi Fallen Order 2. Jedi Fallen Order. So we got the BD droid. First of all, real quick, the BD droid we saw in this episode of the Book of Boba Fett is or is not Cal's?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I agree with you.
It's different coloring. There are some minor aesthetic differences, but I think they used a BD droid because they know that later in the year they're going to be giving us the big reveal of the sequel to Fallen Order, which isn't going to be called Fallen Order. It's going to be Star Wars Jedi, which is the franchise name, and then something else as the second part of that. But I definitely think we saw a BD unit because they're teasing that we are getting Fallen Order 2 trailer in a couple of months. But I also think there might be something to Cameron Monaghan talking about wanting to play Cal Kestis in a live-action show. And I could absolutely see that happening in the Mandoverse. We speak about Tython. I can't remember who said it, but I saw a video where we speak about how Luke responded to Grogu on Tython, but what if there were others who also heard it, like Hal, or perhaps my personal favorite, Mace Windu?
Of course, I like. There's a meme there which says Mace Windu at the Rock and said, "Okay, who ding dong ditched?" Right. Except he had more. He had more colorful language about this.
He had way more colorful language.
Exactly. And those BD units are super cute. Who doesn't want to have their own BD droid figure?
They're adorable.
Or remote control RC figure. That would be fantastic. They are super adorable. And There's two things that sell: cool and cute. Cool and cute, and that BD unit falls into the cute category. They will sell plenty of them.
I've got to admit, Disney Star Wars have done quite a good job with droids. Of all the mistakes they've made, of all the poor planning and whatever else you want to criticize, the droids they've done a really great job. Whether that's like bringing back iconic units, or whether it's new versions like BD and BB units.
Yeah,
I quite like the BB units.
Yeah, I even like Dio, and I know he's not your favorite.
I think he just looks like a hairdryer. But he was
super cute though. Super cute.
Nothing compared to R2-D2. My favorite droid growing up was R4 because Attack of the Clones was one of the first films I saw in the cinema. And I remember having an R4 P17 action figure. But then she died, and then I got the R4 G9 action figure. So I was sold. I was sold to. Because that was George Lucas's thing, wasn't it? Like, if you can sell toys, you're going to be successful in this business.
Yeah, and Nikki is right. And a lot of people, they think one of the best Disney Star Wars was Rogue One. And a lot of people dislike Solo just because of all the stuff that was going on. But one of the worst things about Solo, the absolutely worst things about Solo, was this L3 droid.
Oh, she was horrible.
Terrible.
It was such a waste of time. That whole character. And the weird suggestion that she was intimate with Lando, that was a bit odd.
Right. Whether it was true or not. It's like in the whole droids' rights thing, all of it.
It took you out of the movie unnecessarily.
It really did.
I think we agreed on that in our droid video.
We did. It was. I actually cheered when she died. I'm like, yay! No, she's gone. Now she's still the intellect inside of the Millennium Falcon's navigational computers. You got to deal with that, but and it explains why it's so touchy. But at the same time, we don't have to deal with L3 anymore, so that's good.
It also brings up ridiculous, questions about droid sentience, which already was a thing in context. But droid rights, it's just why?
Right.
When was that part of this universe?
Yeah,
whatever. If you like L3, I'm really happy for you, but I don't personally. So enjoy what you enjoy.
Well, there you go. I just don't know that many people who have defended her, say, "Oh wait, you're giving her too much. You're giving her too much hate." I'm like, I've never heard anybody say that, but maybe could be. Who knows?
I've yet to meet someone who enjoyed the character of L3, and yet at Galaxy's Edge they sell droves of T-shirts with her on it.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Was it Drunk 3PO or someone where I saw them going to Galaxy's Edge and there was all of these L3 T-shirts? I'm like,
maybe seriously? It's just because they can't move them. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't know. Man on the Moon, L3 cracked me up. Looked her like the 3PO Solo. Pure comic relief.
No way. Absolutely no way. 3PO has a comedy that you can't replicate in a different droid. Out of all the protocol droids, there's a reason we love 3PO. It's like the embodiment of Anthony Daniels' sense of humor in a droid, and it works so well.
And there's Tiffany. Tiffany, how? Right, Tiffany?
Yes, that's Tiffany.
That's what I thought. I hope that your mom is doing better. I watched your video about your mom, and I've been following the updates that you've been giving. Prayers are with her and she's 93 or 94, I think, which is quite incredible. But any kind of medical scare is heightened when somebody's in their 90s. So prayers are with you. But she says that,
likewise, Tiffany. I've reached out to her as well on Discord. She needed anything. It was obviously a very sad situation. I saw her video.
Yeah, she's and Tiffany's a great human being. A great human being.
Absolutely.
My nieces like L3. They're a bit off. There you go.
As I say, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know.
Nikki says she was just at Galaxy Edge again. No L3. Just a ton of Grogu merch.
They've replaced it.
Oh my goodness.
They
What
put
else?
Grogu on everything. If you can think of any piece of merchandise you can own, there's there's Grogu merch of it. Socks,
96.
mugs, bibs,
Well, well, and
anything.
that's why I say put chainmail on Grogu, and you get to sell them all again, all of them again.
They were smart to choose a species that lives to be 900 years old.
True, and as a child, and there were some Baby Yoda stuff from way back before Grogu ever existed. They were just people took Yoda and turned it into like a baby kind of
Yes.
figure, and those were very popular. But now you've actually had a real baby Yoda species, Grogu, who sells merch like crazy. So,
I've got a
what?
Grogu video coming out tomorrow.
Oh, do you? So there we
I
go.
do.
We're looking forward to that. What? Any other insight, or do we just wait for it?
Well, some information came out which is absolutely hilarious, but
Okay.
you'll have to wait and see.
Perfect. That's a perfect tease. Good job, Meg. And that was absolutely perfect. I don't know. Is there anything else that we missed on the news front that we should discuss briefly before we get the Mike
I
Porter dad
want to
joke?
know, I want to know your thoughts on Kira now that we're
Oh,
5 episodes in, because we spoke about her like a few weeks ago, maybe after like chapter 3,
yeah.
but I'm still very much on the Kira train, and not just because they keep teasing some connection with the Hutts and the Pikes in the Crimson Reign comics, but also that Crimson Dawn theme at the end is just so unmistakable, and it's so out of touch with the rest of the song. It's like a little bridge in between like the chanting. So I'm kind of convinced that she's going to be the reveal.
I
I'd like to know your thoughts on it.
I'm with you. And I saw something on one of the Discord servers today, and I can't remember which one it was. It was maybe Star Wars Explained or Star Wars Only. I'm not sure. I follow a lot of Star Wars Discord groups, and in one of them, they had a new issue of one of the comics that ties Kira in again, and they're like, they're absolutely convinced that she's going to be in it. I'm convinced that she is as well. I think Crimson Dawn is behind it, or whatever's left of Crimson Dawn. Let's say the Crimson Reign series ends with Crimson Dawn, uh, being obliterated or dissolved or
Yes.
whatever. It could be that Kira is the putting together her own group after that, or that she's somehow in control now and it's something else. So, I think that when we're done with the series, and you help get me here, I think we may get a post credit scene where we see Kira come off of a ship or something and say, okay, like the Pikes completely ruined this. Now I've got to step in and set it right.
Yeah. And I'm seeing more and more people on board with the Kira theory lately, and I think it's kind of the only way they can go with the Pikes, and Crimson Reign #2 is really hammering home on that. And if you remember, was it Viewer Anon, that leaker site, who was talking about how they've heard there's going to be a sequel connection in the show, and we're talking about Ben Solo, but another one is the Knights of Ren, because they're working for Kira, as well as Deathstick, Ochi of Bestoon, who's another
Yes.
link to the sequels. She's
Yes.
got a major arsenal of big players, and I think she could have, by the time of Book of Boba Fett, gotten together like a really powerful group of people, and we don't know how powerful she's become. And I could definitely see her starting, maybe sending a bounty hunter like Cad Bane to try and kill Boba, and then revealing, as you say, in a post-credit scene or something, right at the end, you see her turn around with her cloak and that electro blade that she's got. That would be amazing. I'd
I
absolutely be happy with that.
And it sets up a season 2 for Book of Boba Fett, presuming that Mando 3 is going to go after him to be redeemed, to be
Yes.
baptized in the living waters of Mandalore, right? That all of that is so set up to be Mandalorian season 3, and so we leave Tatooine behind, we leave Boba Fett behind, and we have that absolutely set up for season 2, where people are on the edge, like, oh boy. And he just thought that he had a fight with the Pikes. Oh, it's getting ready to be real, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
But something I've seen someone mention on Reddit, which made me chuckle, is Imagine if they bring back Darth Maul from the dead once again. But I hope his Rebels death was the last one.
Well, the only reason they bring it back is because George came on set again and said, "I want Rebels. I want Maul in there again." Dave, make it happen.
But you know what? I think Maul is so loved as a character. I don't think many people would give two squats if they brought him back from the dead without explaining it. I think that would be quite epic. Even if they don't explain how he survived his duel with Obi-Wan, I think most people would be like, okay, that's quite cool. That we get to see him.
Yeah, just
It's
somehow.
forgivable.
Right.
Somehow. It's a better return than Palpatine.
No. Again, I keep seeing this Darth Talon, and I also see Talon Card mentioned a lot. I see all kinds of theories of different people coming in. Somehow Maul survived. Well, all they need is a cameo of oh shoot, from it'll come to me. The X-wing pilot in the sequels. Poe Dameron. All they need is a Poe Dameron cameo. Somehow Maul survived, and that's it. That's all you need.
Isn't Poe Dameron like 14 years old at this stage?
It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's his line.
Yeah, Dominic, it's me. I'm the big reveal at the end. Darth Meg.
Darth Meg. There have been
That'd be a
theories.
secret. Yeah, there've been rumors.
There have
I'd
been
just show up.
rumors.
That's my face reveal. So why are we not a face reveal? It's coming in the Book of Boba Fett finale.
It's in the post-credit scene of Book of Boba Fett. Make sure you stay on.
Yeah, I'm wearing my hat.
I do think we're going to see Afra at some point, but I don't think it's this.
How about this, Santa? How about Omega is a bad guy and she's behind all the pikes?
Oh,
Wouldn't that be such a twist?
it's not Santa approved.
I don't approve of it either, but you never know. If they want fans to be like, oh. But then again, like, most Star Wars fans haven't even watched The Bad Batch statistically. But then
That's
again,
true.
most of them haven't even watched Solo, so there's an argument to be made there.
Yeah, there is. And I think our friend Jason and Rob have talked about how Kira showing up at the end, people be like, wait, why is the Dragon Queen here? What?
But they're making her out to be such a huge character in the comics. Like, they're kind of really suggesting this character is important. But do
Omega
you
comes
think it
back.
may incentivize people to watch Solo if she appears?
I think so.
That could
And
be a
I
good
think,
way to keep viewers on the platform.
and you're right about the comics are really building up her character. And there's been, people say in the Book of Boba Fett, there have been some foreshadowing of her. That necklace piece that's the
Yes.
half moon thing. It's in the light shadow that comes down in the
Yes.
mayor's place. All of that. So
And also
it's
the mayor's chair. The front bit of the mayor's chair is the Crimson Dawn logo.
right.
It's
So
just a question of, is it Kira or is it someone else?
true.
I think
True.
Mark said Prince Shizor could be behind it, but he's a very deep cut.
Right. And next week's right. The War of the Bounty Hunters, she's everywhere. And I just saw that Afra, by the way, just won some awards recently. The character, the story, her story, just won some awards. So that's a big deal too. So I think they're going to double down on Afra. They're going to double down on Kira. I think it's a safe bet to say they're going to show up. When and where is a good question. I think Kira for Book of Boba Fett, and I'm not sure when we're going to bring in Afra or how, but I absolutely see it.
Yeah.
What kind of truck did you drive? I drove. He's driving a Freightliner. I also drove a Freightliner, but I drove a cab over version, which don't exist anymore here in the States. I drove a cab over, and I drove for Schneider, which I know you know who they are. A lot of people. That's completely meaningless to everybody except Trucker Mark. I drove for Schneider over the road in North America, U.S. and Canada. So, so I think Kira and Afra are sure bets for live action, and I think I just don't know when and how. That's all.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Man on the Moon thinks Afra in season 4 of Mando. Season 4. Well, I don't know. I could see her getting a bit of a spin-off show that's just all new, to be honest.
I don't think there's going to be a season 4 of Mando with what we're hearing at the moment. I kind of think they're going to call it quits after season 3. You know, there might be a reason they're trying to shoehorn in this episode as chapter 5.
Yeah,
I don't think they know if there's even a future for that show with Pedro Pascal and everything. So I don't know.
So here's my prediction for the last 2 episodes. Episode 6, I think, may be very similar to episode 5 in that we're going to follow Din, and we're not going to get very much Boba. I think there will probably be a Boba appearance. I don't think he's going to be left out entirely, but I do think that it's going to follow Din largely. I think he may get a lesson from Luke in a similar way that Kanan gave a lesson to Sabine, maybe. And I think that we're likely to go to Endor. That's my guess. Possible that we get Takadana and Maz, but I don't know. Then episode 7 is going to be more than an hour long, and it's going to be the war with the Pikes. I think that's and then at the end, the Pikes are going to be destroyed. We get a post-credit scene. Kira, Crimson Dawn.
I think they would use the post-credit scene for The Mandalorian season 3. But I think maybe Kira appears at the end of the show rather than in post-credits. But, it could just be Boba finds out something. I really want them to connect those Camino flashbacks and Geonosis flashbacks to something. I really hope at the end someone tells Boba, oh, by the way, I know where the Jedi who killed your father is. That would be one hell of a cliffhanger, and that connects everything from the start of the show. And you know what? Then they have like a year or 2 to actually think what they're going to put in that next season. If they're like, okay, well, we don't know how to explain Mace returning, but we can just tell them he did. I'm fine with that. That gives me hope.
In true George Lucas fashion, right? I don't know how I'm going to use it, but I just put them in there. We'll figure it out later.
Exactly.
That's exactly what George Lucas would do. It's 100% what he would do. He'd just be like, put it in there. It's cool. We'll figure it out.
I think there's more fans who want Mace to return than those who don't.
I know the folks over at Star Wars Newsnet are not on board with that, but I am in love with bringing Mace back. I think he needs to come back, and
I think he needs to.
It would be great. I absolutely think so. And then Thrawn. I have been. It's a seed in my brain that I can't get out of there. Is that we're going to get Rian Johnson creating a trilogy in Chiss space. He said it'd be a part of the universe that's not been explored before. It would be a different universe, so to speak, than what we've seen in Star Wars before. It would fit, and Chiss and the whole Sherlock Holmesian bit there with Thrawn would absolutely fit with Rian Johnson's kind of strengths. And so that's where my brain is on a Thrawn. I would love to see that explored further, Thrawn series, but I think he is going to be spread across the Ahsoka series and perhaps whatever is replacing Rangers of the Republic.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I could see a Thrawn trilogy being made, but I don't think Rian Johnson is going to be helming it.
Maybe not.
I kind of get the feeling that they're like, we might not be doing anything with Rian Johnson. I know that he wants to direct an episode of The Mandalorian, which is a very interesting thing if it happens. I can imagine him trying to subvert our expectations. Maybe Grogu dies. Maybe Mando reveals himself to be half Zabrak or something. I'm messing with you.
X-Wing's 100% on board with Rian Johnson directing Thrawn. He thinks it would be excellent. It would be the best thing that could happen to Thrawn. I think that's what X-Wing means. When I read this, that's what I think he means. That's what
I don't know. I don't think Rian Johnson's going to be directing anything Star Wars for a while.
Yeah, I troll X-Wing just because it's fun, and he loves it. And so he trolls me back.
There's definitely a demographic of fans of the Thrawn books, of Zahn's work.
Yes.
There's definitely an audience there, and obviously to kind of bring fans who've only seen the visual stuff over to the Zahn trilogies, plural.
100%. 100%. You know, there were rumors back in the day. There were rumors that the director for the Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, that Lucasfilm was kind of courting Peter Jackson to bring him in and do some movies. I would love to see Peter Jackson take on a trilogy. Give him the chiss space. Give him all of it. It would be great. I'd love to see Peter Jackson do that.
Yeah. But also talking about Mace Windu, because Mike Porter brought something up and it kind of made me think of something. We see Danny Trejo in the Book of Boba Fett, and he's very good friends with Robert Rodriguez. I believe they're related or something. But also Samuel L. Jackson is one of Robert Rodriguez's best friends. Like all the signs are there that Mace Windu in some way, shape or form is going to appear, whether it's teased at the end, whether it's next season. I think they're going to, and they should do that if they're smart with how they're going to connect that to the beginning of the show with those flashbacks of young Boba picking up his father's helmet on Geonosis on Petronaki Arena.
I would love it. I think it would do a lot for the franchise. My goodness, can you imagine how excited people would be to see Samuel L. Jackson out there as Mace again? I think it'd be great. And then I saw, Man on the Moon says all Bryce Dallas Howard needs is one more amazing episode, and she gets the showrunner. If they've already brought in, shoot, why did I forget her name? I said don't sleep on her, and now I'm asleep on her.
Deborah Chow?
Deborah Chow's a showrunner. I think Bryce Dallas Howard needs to get her own show as well. I would love that.
I think she's already proven herself. Yeah. Man on the Moon says one more episode. She's done a great job. She has chapter 4, chapter 11, and now Book of Boba Fett chapter 5. I think she's proven herself as understanding how Star Wars should be directed. I mean, obviously we have to give credit to Jon Favreau for writing the episode, but no, she's brilliant.
And Jesus says it'd be awesome, Peter Jackson. X-Wing says, I don't trust Peter Jackson after the Hobbit movies. Now, to be fair, I think he was forced into making that a trilogy, and I don't think it should have been a trilogy. I think that was a bad thing they did. That should not have been broken up that way. The Trucker says, I would like to see the Armor and Bo-Katan meet up. Well,
I think that's going to happen.
It'll be
see that happening.
It'll be a fight. Because I don't think Emily likes. No, I shouldn't say it that way. I was going to say actresses' names. I don't think they probably love each other. They're probably great friends. But Emily and Bo-Katan, what's her name?
Katie Sackhoff.
Katie, right? Emily and Katie are probably lovely together, right?
I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't think the Armor and Bo-Katan would be friends.
No, they're very opposing in their views, and obviously the Armor made it clear what she thinks of Clan Kryze.
Nikki, God bless you. I love you so much. Thank you so much. And if you guys would do the YouTube things for this stream, it would be wonderful. Because I already know YouTube's going to mark it down, limited on its monetization. I'm going to have to appeal it. I already know all of that's already happening. But if you guys could like this video, share it out, maybe leave a comment, that'd be great. Thank you.
Have you ever been scrolling through Disney Plus, like beyond Star Wars and everything? Have you realized just how much crap is on there?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean,
there is so much crap on Disney Plus. Stuff where I'm like, who the fuck watches this stuff?
Netflix is worse, to be fair. Same thing.
It's more noticeable on Disney.
aggressively relaxing. Well, yeah, because Disney Plus's catalog is much smaller, right? Kathleen added again, the last episode was a wonderful love letter to Star Wars gaming. There you go. There's a
Kathleen
little
Kennedy
love.
does it again.
There's a
I
little
mean, I know
love
she
for
produces, but like,
a little love for
it's a bit
Kathy
hot.
Kennedy. Thank you for that, AR.
Sounds like
Thank
something
you.
the sequels shill would say.
There you go again. Hey, getting me demonetized. No, I joke. I joke.
Is Kathleen Kennedy a cuss word now?
It's not. I like what she's done for the most part, and the way that she's leading Lucasfilm forward is good. But that's me.
I think you're in the very, very, very small minority there.
I'm trying to get my check. Come on.
Trying to get your shill check. You know what? I'm not on board with the really hateful people towards her, but you've got to admit she's made a few blunders as Lucasfilm president.
Look, yes, I think that the term "the buck stops here" should be applied to her, and she should take absolutely more heat for some of the things that she's been responsible for as the head of Lucasfilm. I also think that she doesn't get credit in some places where she deserves it, and I think sometimes it's anything somebody doesn't like, they direct at Kathleen Kennedy. Everything they love, they give to John and Dave, and they don't correlate the two together. I don't think there are two organizations running inside of Lucasfilm: a Kathy organization and a Dave and John organization. I don't believe that at all, 0%. But I think there's that as the head, the buck stops here. It should apply.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what her role is. You know, she puts those people in those creative positions. She is an executive. She runs the company, and yeah, she's definitely made some mistakes and blunders. But as I say, I'm not on either side. I'm not on the train that says, "Oh, she's amazing and we should give her all the credit in the world." But I'm also not on the side that relentlessly thinks that she's the devil and everything bad that's ever happened in the world is because of Kathleen Kennedy and she's got red eyes in the thumbnails. I'm not on that train either.
This is an inside joke with me and Nikki. I thank you for that, and I laugh. It was if you don't know the joke, don't say it here, Nikki. Don't say it here. You can DM it to Meg. You could DM the joke to Meg, but just oh my goodness. Yeah, Santa, a one-man fan for Kathleen Kennedy. That's me. That's me.
I find it incredible how one president of Lucasfilm has become such a buzzword in a fandom. I think that's quite hilarious. Some people use that as their keyword for their videos on YouTube, like every day. And that's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
That I find hilarious because I always wonder, is she aware of it? Is she aware of
well, probably. But for me, and I think most likely they slough it off as the toxic side of the fandom, and they ignore it, but they're aware of it, and they're aware that it's the amount of volume that it has in the number of people who are on that train. But at the same time, I think she's learned a lot from the mistakes. I think she's kind of put some more structures in place, as evidenced by Dave's promotion into his role at Lucasfilm now, and what John is doing at Lucasfilm now. I give her credit for Dave and John. I don't set her opposed to Dave and John. I don't believe there's a civil war between.
War is absolute crap. There is no civil war. They love her, and she loves that. I mean, just watch the behind-the-scenes Luke Skywalker documentary. Even Marsha Lucas, who said that J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy don't understand Star Wars, which I agree with her on. But even she said, Kathy, she was always full of beans. Her and her husband Frank were always great, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there's, a grain of truth to some of it. But, maybe it is time for her to pass the torch on.
Perhaps. And I think they're getting it. I think they're building that in place. And it will be in good hands when she turns it over. But I don't know that everybody's going to be happy with who she's turning it over to. I know who is in the seat, and I don't think people are going to. Most people
Who do you
like.
think it's going to be?
I kind of know who it's going to be, but I don't want to say it here.
Is it that
I've
that
not
other
been
lady?
given. I've not been given permission to share what I know.
Is
So
this did Star Wars Only tell you? Because I think a
no,
while back he had some information on this.
no, I didn't get it from him. I got it from somebody else who.
I won't press you on it. I
Yeah,
know
who.
you know some things you can't say.
Right.
I respect that.
I think it's in line with what Only heard. Let's put it that
Oh,
way.
okay.
So
I think I vaguely have an idea who you're talking about.
yeah,
But
I just didn't get permission from the person who told me who got it like firsthand. So
no
I
worries.
just don't.
Then
I
let
don't want to
you
go
know.
there. I don't
Yeah.
want to go there.
Let's change
But-
the subject.
Yeah. The young Yoda. It was me. It was. There you go. There you go. Yeah, sniper on sight. Right. I should have a little a button I can push and it turns a red dot on like on my head. I can't talk about that. Right. Yes. A glowing red Mickey laser on my forehead. Right. That's what I need. I think that covers it. We've got one big thing left to do. We've got to do the Mike Porter dad joke of the day, because you can't leave that. Now this one requires a little extra effort, and for those of you who are really young like Meg, just little children, just no, Meg, I'm absolutely sure you know this, but I tease. This requires that you do a little more work on it, right? So tell you ahead of time. It takes a little work to work it out, but you'll get there.
Just say it. Just say it.
What is Thrawn's favorite rock group and song? The group is Chiss, singing "I'm gonna be a great technician all night and playing every day."
You said it took effort. It's just a Kiss song.
Right. Well, I mean, you're young. I mean, do you even know
my
who
music taste-
Kiss are?
I'm into classic rock more than
Again, I joke.
even before the 80s.
I joke.
I know. You see, Santa
my
existed before rock and roll. He existed before music.
That's true.
He remembers a time where it was tribal times.
X-Wing, I know you got that one. So that's good. That's so good. Meg, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for taking this time with me. It's been a ton of fun.
It's always fun. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you everyone in the chat for keeping us entertained.
Oh my goodness! Somebody beat.
Yeah, it's been the loudest. It's either when I record my videos or when I'm on stream with you. It's like there's like a team of cars waiting to do their shit.
I'm sure that now every time that happens, right in the middle of recording, you go, "Oh, bantha diddle." I'm sure that's the
Or
term that
sometimes
comes
when
out.
I'm not recording, I hear the ambulance go by and I think, oh, they probably think I'm recording. Why else would they be making all that noise?
Yes, Mike Porter existed before Santa. That's true. Like, we're not even joking. He did.
Could very well be.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure that you use more. You like Samuel L. Jackson, use very colorful language when you're unhappy. I'm quite sure.
I kind
of
of
it.
just hope for Samuel L's sake he returns. He's dying to play Mace Windu again. I really hope he gets that opportunity.
Exactly. All right. Well, you guys and Trucker Mark, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support, and drive safe, my friend. Drive safe. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week. Until then, Meg, any parting words?
Just thank you so much for having me on. It's always great to speak to you guys and to Santa. So wishing you all an amazing day.
Thank you so much, and may the force be with you all. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.